Shalom Israel. Before I start, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Barashem Yahushai, Maharaka Kadash, doublings to the elders and apostles in Israel, who rule and teach well, to the Akims and the Iris and Bibles and those pushing videos in truth and sincerity, the brothers and sisters in the truth. Now, there's a video I want to play. It's called How China Tracks Everyone. And what you realize is that this B system, even though it's Esau's baby, these other nations are picking up on it too. Like for instance, when you got you speak about the mark of the beast, the chip, it's not that big over here in the UK or in the West in general. But then when you look at places like Sweden, it's quite big in those areas. And certain part of this system, this B system, these other nations are picking it up and expanding on it. It's only a matter of time before it becomes worldwide, and all people have that choice whether to jump in or jump out. But this is all done through traffic, through Esau's traffic. This is how he builds his relationship with these nations. And that's one of the things that you find when Esau goes down, when Babylon goes down, what the nations are going to be complaining about. They're not going to have that traffic anymore that they had with America, because through that traffic is how a lot of these nations have gotten rich. And it tells you in Psalms 8:3 how they've colluded, for want of a better word, with one consent. They are confederate against thee. So these nations are, in one hand, they're in bed with Esau, but at the same time, because of Esau's pride and the liberties that he takes, they're starting to rise up against him. But like I said, the system, B system that Esau has, these other nations are also latching onto it. And I just want to show that in this video. But like I said, part of the way how Esau deals with these nations is through his traffic. Now this here says economic and trade agreement between the government of the United States of America and the government of the People's Republic of China. Now obviously this agreement is kind of breaking down, and that's due to Esau's pride. But this is just showing you that they had an agreement through their traffic. It says the government of the United States of America and the government of the People's Republic of China, collectively the parties, recognizing the importance of their bilateral economic and trade relationship. Another word for trade in the scriptures is traffic. It says realizing that it is in the interest of both countries that trade grow and that there is adherence to international norms so as to promote market-based outcomes. But like we can see in recent times, that relationship is breaking down. It says convinced of the benefits of contributing to the harmonious development and expansion of world trade and providing a catalyst to broader international cooperation, acknowledging the existing trade and investment concerns that have been identified by the parties, and recognizing the desirability of resolving existing and any future trade and investment concerns as constructively and expeditiously as possible. So I'm not going to really go into that, but this is just to show you that they've made a trade agreement between themselves, through their traffic, and that agreement is sort of breaking down, and that's mainly due to Esau's pride. It says China-US trade war, Beijing escalates tit for tat with Washington. It says China has introduced tough new laws which restrict the export of controlled items. The rules primarily focus on the export of military technologies and other products that might harm China's national security. The export controls are widely believed to be in response to similar actions by the US. So, like I said, that the trade agreement that they have between them is sort of breaking down, but the system that Esau implements is B system. Like I said, these other nations, they also pick up on it, and at times they are more ahead of Esau in how they implement it in their countries. And that's a lot to do with the fact that Esau's more subtle with how he does his things. You know, China, they'll just, you know, tell you this is how it goes, and you have to live with it. Whereas Esau wants to make you think, well, you know, you actually agreed with it when you actually twisted your arm without you knowing. You know, the scripture says the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. Now, before I play the video, I just want to read these scriptures here. It says, this is Revelation. Actually, I read Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel 28:4. It says, with thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten thy riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. How? By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, yeah, by your trade, as thou increase thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. So this is one of the reasons why the trade deal is sort of breaking down, and you're getting this trade war. You know, it says that the export controls are widely believed to be in response to similar actions by the US. So, you know, it says thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Now they become prideful. Now, when we look at this word here, traffic, let's look at this, see what this has to say.
Strong's H 7404, Rachala, Rachala.
Says merchandise, traffic, trade. Yeah, so this is how Esau has gotten rich, and these other nations as well, through their traffic, their trade between themselves. You know, and when Esau does go down, that's what these nations are really going to be missing, the traffic that they had between them. Verse 18, thus defile thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Because a lot of these deals that they do is underhanded at times. You know, so therefore I will bring forth a fire from the midst of thee, it shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. And that goes into what I'm going to read there in Revelation 18 and verse 9. It says, and the kings of the earth, yeah, all these leaders of these other nations, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with thee, yeah, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her torment. Why? Because, you know, the trade that they used to do, the riches they used to gain from doing their deals, you know, being part of that system, you know, it's not there anymore. It says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth, remember when we went into traffic, one of the word was merchants, trade. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her merchandise anymore. Let's get a look at this. Merchants.
Strong's G 1713, Imparas, Imparas.
It says, one on a journey, whether by sea or by land, especially for trade, yeah, for traffic. A merchant as opposed to a retailer or petty tradesman. So these nations, when Esau goes down, you know, is because I think, if you know, you can correct me, but I'm sure like most of the trade money that is done, trading that's done is done in US dollars. And so Esau is still cornering the market because everyone has to trade in their money. But the system that they're pushing out, like I said, these other nations are latching onto it, and at times are a bit ahead of Esau for now in how they're implementing it. And this video here, like I said, you know, I thought it was a good video. Is how China tracks everyone. This is what Esau wants to do. He wants to be that all-seeing eye, you know, that can tell you where you are, at what time, what you're doing. Yeah, and China's just picked up on that as well. So just going to play this video and hopefully you enjoy.
China has the largest video surveillance network in the world and plans to expand it to more than 600 million cameras over the next 2 years. With the rise in facial recognition and artificial intelligence, It feels more like someone is watching all those cameras at all times.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm in China, and I just got busted for jaywalking with facial recognition technology.
Stations like this one are part of a new plan by the Chinese government to publicly shame citizens caught breaking the law.
If you cross the street against the light, cameras with facial recognition technology will take a picture of your face, cross-reference it with your government ID, and then post it up there to embarrass you.
But China isn't embracing facial recognition just to catch jaywalkers. The technology is starting to appear just about anywhere you can imagine. It helps make menu recommendations at your local fast food spot. You can also pay for your food with your face.
Doesn't matter whether you smile or not, even though it's called smile to pay. Even if you are wearing a wig or have a heavy makeup, it will still recognize you.
It even curbs waste of toilet paper at public bathrooms.
My gift. This is all I get for the next 9 minutes. And then I come back again, I try to get more.
Chinese tech companies are now at the cutting edge of developing new and sophisticated ways to do video analysis.
Right now we're going into Sense Time, one of the biggest companies involved in developing that technology. Oh, that's me.
这个是我们的人脸识别的门禁，那它可以自动的识别人脸，然后方便员工进出。而你站在门口，它很快就会把门打开。对于外来的人员来讲呢，他站在门口，门并不会打开。
So you know when someone's late?
所以我们也可以知道到底是每个人都是几点来，几点走了。所以这个呢是我们的一个肢体检测、肢体识别的一个功能。这个是我们的一个会场迎宾签到的一个系统，那它可以作为你的牌，并不需要说每次进出都需要刷卡，我们可以替代这么一个方式。这个是我们给线下做这种广告营销互动的一个平台，它可以很快的识别出你的魅力值，然后表情、戴了墨镜、欢乐值、年龄以及你的性别。那相应的，它会有一个这个颜值的一个排行榜，都可以在一个后台得到。Yeah, now you are the number one.
But despite all the goofy applications we were first shown, much of the tech Sense Time is developing has serious real-world implications.
Salakia.
I've always loved sci-fi.
这边是我们给智慧城市、平安城市打造的一整套的系统。然后呢，这里头的细节呢，我们可以看到很多标签，包括人的着装上身和下身的着装然后颜色、性别、年龄，然后对于车辆，我们可以识别到3000多种的车型，这个包括到具体品牌。那这样一个产品，它叫视频结构化，它能够很好的把视频中的一些关键信息提取出来。比如说，我今天要找中午。
And just to add, like how this is in China, this is really what Esau really wants, to have that control where they can tell what you're doing, where you are, so forth. The scripture says the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding the good and the evil, and there's nothing that we can do to hide from the Most High. And Esau wants that same power. As you can see, some of these other nations are picking up on his system and advancing it before him.
11点钟经过这个路口的红色车辆，然后可以很快的把这样一些目标物给检索出来。这个是我们给这是上海外滩的一个场景，我们是给上海外滩的这个摄像头去做了一个人群的布控。左上这张图是一个原始的图片，然后同样的我们可以得到左下这张圖是一个人群驻留时间的一个估计。那红色部分表示这些人群在这驻留时间非常长了。
So it can track suspicious activity within a large crowd.
它更多的是能够及时的发现一些异常状况，能够做更实时的响应，来减少损失。
Are you ever bothered by having no anonymity because there are cameras watching all the time?
从我自己的体验来讲，其实对这样的一些事情并不会很担忧。但是呢，像这样的一些算法或者说技术应用到实战的场景中去以后呢，如果说你真的要做坏事，以后就要小心了。
But the reach of this technology goes way beyond public areas and increasingly infiltrates private spaces as well.
We're going into a government housing complex. Instead of doormen, they have security cameras with facial recognition technology. And we're going to go see how it works.
它是一个门禁和一个摄像头关联。对，这个咱们现在看到这个画面呢，是我们的一个，这里面也可以看到保障人员的每个日期它的保障人员的出入情况，非保障人员的和陌生人的他们的出入情况。
This is the number of visitors, and this is all of the residents. And this is our most popular person with 142.
然后呢，我们每个月底的时候会出一个月报，提供给房管局，就是监管部门，因为这是他连续跑了，现在这个项目跑了快1年了，然后可能他累积的比较多。
How much more is your system doing that you're not allowed to show us?
然后工作挺多的，然后我在这边的话不太方便透露太多，希望理解。
In China, there are few protections limiting how much information the government can collect about its 1.4 billion citizens. Everyone over the age of 16 is required to have an official state-issued ID card that the government now wants to use to centralize all that information. And China is investing heavily in tech companies to help transform that government data into a virtually
And soon, all that data will be on a chip.
omniscient surveillance network. One of those companies is Medvi. It recently received a capital investment of nearly $500 million, part of which is from a state-run VC. But China isn't the only place experimenting with facial recognition applications. An airport in the Middle East is already planning face scanning aquariums as security checkpoints. In Europe, state-sanctioned and private initiatives are testing this technology in multiple locations, from train stations to online classes. And in the US, private companies are investing millions to secure government contracts, which could make machine learning and image recognition a regular part of police work. Law professor Andrew Guthrie Ferguson is a leading expert on big data policing. He spoke to us about the ramifications that these technologies could present. When you look at China's system of facial recognition and video surveillance, what do you see?
I see the future and it scares me. If you have the capability to identify people and patterns, and you can show association about where you go and why you're going there, it really will change your relationship. One of the open questions is who owns this data? Take police body cams, right? Right now, there is sort of an arms race of people trying to sell police body cameras to policing all across America. All of that data from all of those officers is actually really valuable for other non-law enforcement purposes. You're really capturing patterns of society. And if the private companies can use that data for other things, even sell it for other reasons, they're going to want to profit it. Part of the reason why we've seen this move toward big data policing is because it sounds like an objective move to sort of turn the page from some of the racial tension we've seen after Ferguson and after Baltimore and after Staten Island to something that sounds more objective. Don't worry, this is data-driven. The problem is the data comes from us.
Like I said, you can't make something that's crooked into something that's straight. And system is a crooked system, always has been. These nations, like I mentioned before, Psalms 83, they're all conspiring. You know, they're all in it together at the end of the day. You know, because the ones that they want to affect is God's chosen, which is us, the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and those that scattered, you know, those from the west coast of Africa and so on and so forth. It says Ecclesiastes 7:13, consider the work of the Most High. Who can make that straight which he has made crooked? So that's a question you have to ask yourself, you know, when you're joining onto the system, you know, you think that you're gonna use it and make good of it, but it's a system that's crooked. The Most High made it crooked, so who can make it straight? And that's a rhetorical question because no one can make it straight. This is why when the kingdom comes in, it's going to be run upon righteousness. Everything that Esau is trying to do now is how the kingdom is going to be, but in righteousness. You know, we're going to know what's happening all over the world. Yeah, and Esau's trying to do that, and those that join onto him is trying to have that same autonomy. But you know, hopefully, you know, someone finds this edifying. With that, I'm going to close out and give all praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Baruch Kadash, Kwam Allah.